What's going on, guys? So recently I noticed that the Pirate101 Discord reached 10,000 members. Rejoice, really cool. I'm happy to see it. And I think this is largely in due part by Chupo's video, as well as Zeret's video, and then, of course, the updates that are finally rolling around. Console for Wizard, I think, definitely helped for this as well. So we're starting to see a lot of young bloods enter the hemisphere of the spiral, and that's really cool to see. And I thought, as a certified old head of the Pirate101 community, I've been playing since release, that it'd be really cool to revisit the good old days, the glory days of Pirate101. 2012 Pirate101, 2013 Pirate101, and even some of the beta as well. I didn't play the beta, but there is some content I want to talk about there. So let's get started with it. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the actual beta of the game. Now, unfortunately, I was never actually able to play the beta. They had giveaways on Pirate101 Central, but I was never able to obtain a key. So, fortunately, this is on the Discord as well. On the forum page, you can go to General and find this forum post yourself. This is from Flash33. He's a really old player. I remember seeing him on Wizard 101 as well as Pirate101 Central in like 2011, 2012, 2013. So this was posted recently, September 9th. And I want to go through some of his pictures that he has. So the first one is this picture here, and I think beautiful. You look at this, it's just a masterpiece of so much stuff that has changed in the game. So the first thing you might notice is that Old Scratch, he's the first mate, he's got burst fire and he's got return fire. Back in the day, this is according to what he said in the beta, that highlights include Old Scratch using Musketeer epics. So Witchdoctor epics, Mojo Rising, Mojo Echo, Intuition, they did not exist on the beta. They added that later on. I also think that once upon a time during this era, or I guess on release, Witchdoctors would allow to proc their epics on basic spells. So things like Jobu's Kiss or Ghost Whale could proc Mojo Rising or Mojo Echo from it. I think that's one of the best ways to utilize the Witchdoctor epics. I really wish there's a way that you can connect the powers to using those types of epics. Because, you know, a lot of epics, you know, Old Scratch has a bunch of epics, but they're borderline useless. No one really uses them outside of the improved Mojo Blast, Witch Hunter. You don't really use any of those other epics because most of the time you're not using Old Scratch for his damage, you're using him for his utility. For his Jobu's Embrace, or I think is what it's called, the one that heals him, and then you're using his scratch buffs, the Mojo Flows. So I think that's a way that you can really bring back a lot of Witchdoctors, especially Witchdoctor companions. So like if you want to rework Kikarius, for example, really cool animations. I think it'd be really cool if there's a way that you can hook powers that Witchdoctors cast with their epics. So the next thing I want to talk about are these numbers that are underneath each of these companions. So back in the day, Pirate101 always randomized their companions. So in this case, you can see the first mate always had 100%. Everybody else has a number associated with them. The closer they are to their first mate, the more likely they are to participate in the next fight. The problem was, as you might notice, Old Scratch here is level 33, but these companions are level 22. But they still have a chance at entering combat. So you would be questing through, let's say you're in Mushu and you're like, I don't know, fighting level 42 mobs, and then you have, let's say you don't train all of your companions, you get like a level 15, I don't know, Conquistador on your team. And you're just screwed. It's like, well, I have a dead unit on my team. So they changed it around, I think 2013, 2014, they changed it, and you can now toggle in the options to have your first three companions join each combat. The next thing I want to talk about is this companion right here. So this is a Buccaneer Troggy, and according to Flash, it never made it out of beta. So this is a Troggy warrior companion that like the pack never made it out of the beta, and it got replaced, I'm assuming, by the Yule Trog, because it's a Troggy that's a Buccaneer. So this is a lost companion. So there are some lost companions. This is an example of it. I wonder if there's any other companions from the beta that never made it out. But Hey, KI, if you ever want to make a new companion, you got one right there. I also want to take time to look at some of the combat, some of the stuff you used to see in the game. So you can see these really weird powers in the beta. Bat Masterson, Buffalo Bill. You can see they have really large icons. They changed this, I think, like in 2013, Billy the Kid. And you can see some of these really weird powers. So this was Wind Spirit. This is how it used to look like. Cloud Spirit, Quick Shot, all of these really weird powers. You can even see when the power is casted, it's a different icon, a different circle that goes underneath. I think they changed this around 2014, but this is just how it was. And you can see also in the top left corner, there's like the stat changes, and this is just what they did in the beta. So they changed this, I think, when the live servers came out. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about are some of the stuff in Pirate101 Central. I want to talk about, this is what the game used to look like back in the day. So this was a illustrated guide to Witchdoctor skills and power. So this was August 20th, and this is some things I just want to show. Like, this is what the game used to look like. So one thing you might notice is Spooky. The icon for it looked different. I wanted to talk about this one in particular because I'm starting to notice that like a lot of powers used a lot of the same models and icons. And again, I don't have a problem with reusing assets. I understand Pirate has a budget problem, but the more you use the same icons over and over and over again, it really just, I don't know. It becomes redundant, and I think it becomes detrimental to the whole reason as to why you're using it. Because people start getting frustrated. Is like, okay, why are we always having the same icons? So, you have this old Spooky icon. I think that could be really useful for a new power if they want to create one. They have this skull. This is another one. This is Lucky. I don't know what Lucky ever did. I'm assuming it was critical strike chance. No, I think this is Resistance. I think this might be actually Resistance. I don't know why it's called Lucky. But again, this is another icon that you can use. You can use this icon for a new spell or new power or something. And then, of course, I just want to show that, again, this was back when level 50 was the cap. You might also notice something that is one of my big problems with balance overall, is that there's no epics. These are all just powers. There are no epics that you get. So originally, the game was balanced around having a very few amount of epics. And as the game progressed, the game ignored balance, and now you have so many epics that you can get on certain classes that I just think it just fundamentally breaks the game. So the next one I want to talk about is kind of the things that we had to do as a community back in the day because of things that we weren't offered before. So around, I think, 2013 or 2014, they started adding, ship. Your companions can go on like what is it called? They can go on like their own missions where you can move them to go collect training totems, or you can let them collect gear or gold. And the specific one which is a lot of people use, is for Nautical XP. Because in the game, this was one of the things that they messed up since the start, and it's never been fixed, is that your nautical level will, if you just play through the game normally, it would not reflect your actual level. So I remember when level 50 was the cap, usually, assuming you didn't do a lot of side quests, your nautical level was like level 25. As in, back in the day, side quests didn't even give nautical XP. They just gave whatever small amount of XP that they currently give. They added the nautical XP stuff later on in the game. So what you had to do is you had to go to something like Pirate101 Central, and you had to go and ask for somebody to help you train your nautical XP. So this was January 1st, 2013. And this is this guy's page, Cedric Young, of the ship sinkers. So you had a whole form, your pirate name, your level, nautical level, ship name, all these types of stuff. And this is what we used to do. This is how we used to train our nautical XP. This is how we got to level 50. So you can see all these different people that were here asking for it. And you can even see, I was even talked about this. If we want to join, we PM you or post the app here. So this was February 1st, 2013. This is my account. I did not even know. Yep. So again, I had to do it just like everybody else had to do it. I really I'm really happy that sometimes I randomly had pictures that were just on my account. So this is my Pirate101 Central account. And Lucas SC, right? Added by Lucas SC. So this is my actual account. And it's so cool to see this stuff years later and just reminisce of like the good old times. So this picture was December 9th, I believe, 2012. And this was one of the events that we used to do to train Nautical XP. So a lot of people would go not only just on that forum page where you can, ask to have somebody help you train your Nautical XP. They usually had like events where a lot of people would come on together and congregate into one specific realm, and then we would go and train Nautical XP all over together. So, and I'm really happy that I have this. Like, look at all these ships. Look at all these ships right here. Look at all these ships right here. All these people talking. Like, this is the stuff that I really miss the most about an MMO. Same thing, Nautical XP 44. You can even look at the user interface. Like, look at this. We didn't even have marking locations back in the day. Again, you guys are blessed now. We did not even have that back in the day. Back in my day, we didn't have that. I wonder what this used to do. I don't remember if this just pulled up your map or it pulled up Marco Polo's map, or maybe it did something else. I don't actually remember what this did. So maybe one of you other old heads in the comment section can let me know what this was, because I actually don't remember what this was for. But we did not have marking locations back in the day. If you were a Pirate 101 player around 2012 as well as 2013, and you always wanted to farm for your gear, you probably know about this particular forum thread right here. I mean, look at the views, 530k, what the hell? So this was the guide. This was by Bluebeard. So he made this right at the release of Pirate 101. So he compiled all the no auction gear that you can get from all the different types of bosses, because they never announced it. KI never announced what drops where. So everybody went, they farmed all this type of stuff, and they put it into this big forum thread. So you can go through and you can see all the different pieces of gear. So we have Cool Ranch, Mushu, all these pieces of gear. And I think it goes all the way down. So we're still in Mushu, Marleybone's here now. And this is just where you had to go. There's the Aquila ones, and I think it ends at Kane, I want to say. One of the things that I really miss about Wizard 101 as well as Pirate 101 Central is the contests and the giveaways that they used to have. So this was one of the things that they had. They had hide and seeks. So they did this both in Wizard 101 Central as well. And I think this is something that they really need to bring back, that KI really needs to bring back. So you can see they got a bunch of the Pirate 101 Central mods. So this is Paige Moonshade, Natalie, Jade, Milt, etc., Frostbite. So these were people who worked on Pirate 101 Central. They weren't affiliated with King's Isle in any way, shape, or form. They were just players who helped out. Again, KI themselves don't have to do it. They don't have to be playing the game. I know there's like this allegation that a lot of the developers don't actually play Pirate. I'm not going to get into that, but if they don't, you could just get the Discord moderators that we currently have. I know there's, drama that surrounds them. Again, I'm not going to get to that. I'm not a huge drama person, but they can do it. You can give them the codes. You can give them like a 5,000 crown code or something like that, and they can orchestrate these hide and seek events. I think it would go a really, really long way. I loved doing them when I was younger. I think a lot of people would be very, very excited about it. And this is kind of weird, but a lot of people attack KI for being cheap and unfair to the players. Look at this. For a hide and seek, they gave a bundle and 10,000 crowns. Like, what the hell? A cutthroat bundle, Crocagator map. They were very generous for these. I was expecting maybe like just 2,500 crowns or something. Nah, they went crazy with this. Look at this. Salamander set, cutthroat bundle. That's crazy. Yeah, but I do think that they should bring this back. To be fair, to their defense, they have kind of brought it back. They had like some caption events for some of the they had like these portraits, comic book portraits similar to the puppet shows. I think they should do some more of that stuff. I think they should be doing hide and seeks. They should be doing crossword puzzles, stuff like that. They do decorating contests as well. It's a good example of it. I think that they need to do this type of stuff. If they don't want to judge and orchestrate it, just give the crowns for it. Give a bundle for it. Let the moderators handle it. I'm pretty sure the developers, or excuse me, the Discord moderators, they would love to do this type of stuff. So the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is regarding a specific developer who works on Pirate who goes by the name of Dom or Stormbringer. And as you can tell by what you see here is that this was his Pirate 101 Central account. In my opinion, This goes for any type of developer of a game, not just Pirate, but anything. One of two criteria needs to be met if you want to be a good developer. The first one is you have to get paid enough to care. So, for example, if you work some type of wagey-esque job and someone tells you to go do something, you're probably going to look at it and say, I don't get paid enough to do this. And I'm going to take a wild shot in the dark and say that a lot of these Pirate developers don't get paid $50, $60 an hour to be working on Pirate. So I think the second criteria needs to be met, which is that they have to have genuine passion for the game that they're developing. And in my opinion, the best way that you can showcase that is you were originally a Pirate101 player. And as you can see, Eric Stormbringer, he was one. He also worked on Final Bastion, so I'll show that here. And this is, in my opinion, the perfection of an MMO, where the people who played the game, they loved the game, they grew with the game, they finally have become old enough to develop the game now. I think this is just perfect. And you can see, so this is what he made. So this was a forum thread that he made in March 3rd of 2013. Availability, private tier, no auction items. So I showed about the Bluebeard video, the Bluebeard forum thread that had all of the compilations. So this is just another compilation that Dom himself made back 12, 13 years ago. So you can see a lot of this stuff. You can see Rallying Call. Back then it used to have 10 turns. Yeah, it was really overpowered. Battlezeal used to have 10 turns as well, so really crazy. And I want to talk about this one as well. So this was Brutal Charge. And some people may not know this, but Buccaneer used to be extremely weak on release. A lot of people just look at Witchdoctor as the really weak class, but Buccaneer was really bad. As in, if you ever wondered why Peter Quint has Whale's Might and he's the only companion with a 100% boost, it's because the developers recognized how bad of a class Buccaneer was. So they kept buffing it. People may not know this, but Turn the Tide was actually added about a year later from Pirate's release. So the class was just horrible. And you can even see in this particular one, there's no glancing blow effect. They added that later on as well. So you can see he just posted a lot of stuff, all the gear that he got when he was playing the game as a wee lad. Really awesome to see. And I mean, again, I don't know if any of the other developers played Pirate. I don't have any proof of that. But this is one of the reasons why I like Eric Stormbringer. This is why I like Dom so much, is that I know that he is a Pirate101 player. He has genuine desire to make Pirate101 a good game. Although I do miss the days when we had more players active, I'm getting some of that huffy puffy copium in my lungs. The developers have mentioned currently getting trained in world building for Pirate and have plans to go back to some of the egregious Arc 2 problems with new plans to fix it. With Wizard's surprising success on console, there might just be a steady influx of new players trying out Pirate. I'm hopeful with the next Pirate episode. KI, you guys have to have a new Skyway. I'm tired of teleporting to these areas. Just give us a small Skyway like Ithaca, and you can have us fast travel with those Demoxes like in Wiz Darkmoor. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I'll see you all later.